Okay.
Welcome back to Soul Sister Channel.
Welcome, Soul Squad. How are you guys doing? We hope all is well.
So today we're bringing you
a video
on school supplies.
So today we're going to list the basic school supplies that your child should have on the first day of school, whether you have the list or not. These school supplies are mandatory from pretty much grade K to grade 8. So, you can just, even if you don't have a list, because I know a lot of the times over the summer, the list gets misplaced, so you don't know where the list is, or the kid never came home with the list. Mm-hmm. So, we have a few basic mandatory supplies here that you can send your child to school with on the first day until you get a list.
That list. Yep. So let's start.
Okay. So first things first, you want to start from your end or mine?
We can start from your end.
So first things first, I think it's very essential that the child has a folder to every notebook. So if they're required to have 6 notebooks, they should have 6 folders. It may not be like that, but I just think it makes sense because if you have a science notebook, it's followed by a science folder. If you have a math notebook, it's followed by a math folder. Mm-hmm. And that's just how it goes in school. So most schools, they require black and white composition notebooks, especially for elementary school students. So this is just key. This is key. Black and white composition.
You can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong, right. Some schools ban spiral notebooks. They don't want spiral notebooks, or they accept it for the older kids. But for the younger kids, black and white composition is key. So what you got on your side?
Let's see what's on my side. Pencil, crayon, marker, folder. Okay. This is very important so your child can be organized. And sometimes things are falling apart all over the book bag. So we need this to just have this organized, and this way people won't steal your child's items, right? So we have blue, we have pink for the ladies or the young men, however you want to put it. But this is important to have these pencil and marker holders, so this way your child does not lose any item, and this way the teacher knows what belongs to your child. And then you can go an extra mile and get labels. But for now, this is very important. First day of school, basics, your kids' items are inside of this.
So then we have sharpeners. You cannot go wrong with sharpeners. It's always best to have at least 3 or 4 backup sharpeners at home. However, you would never send the kids to school with 3 or 4 sharpeners. You'll send them with 1 sharpener, and you keep more sharpeners at home. Some teachers, they want you to send the kid with 2 or 3 sharpeners just so that they can have backup in the class. However, I suggest you always have 3 to 4 at home.
I think something that sometimes we bypass is baby wipes, hand wipes. So depending on the age of your child, and I think every child should have some baby wipes, regardless of the age. So for the young children who are playing with markers, crayons, Play-Doh, anything, touching the floor, like having these baby wipes is very helpful for them. And for the older kids who's like playing with other kids, like, or if they need to wipe their hands from eating something or touching something, it's always amazing to have these baby wipes, because sometimes we fail to even add that in. But if you want your child to like stay clean and come back home cleaner than they left, these baby wipes are helpful.
Next we have glue, which would be used for arts and crafts and other activities during the school day. Glue is very, very important, especially if you have a child in elementary school where they do more arts and crafts. Glue is very, very important. It doesn't really matter on the brand. This is a Staples brand, but you can do Staples, you can do Elmer's. They're all the same thing, just different names. So glue is good.
So something very important is, of course, pencils, right? But not just any pencil. You need a number 2 pencil. Like every time you send your child to school, because sometimes you could go to a 99-cent store and pick up pencils, but make sure they're number 2. It's very important, especially when they take like their statewide test and they need that number 2 pencil, or it will not work out for you. So number 2 pencils are extremely important.
Can I just make a comment on your pencil?
Of course you can.
So, I think it's best to do unsharpened pencils, because sharpened pencils, they break in the book bag, they break in the pencil case when your child is walking or running or whatever, because they're like bouncing back and forth. So they break, and then there's lead everywhere, and it just makes it a mess. So I think unsharpened pencils are best for the pencil box, and then as they use them, they'll sharpen them. But I think unsharpened pencils are better. Oh, it's my turn? Sorry, I forgot I was talking. I forgot. Oh, this is very, very important. Erasers. I am tired of seeing students with bitten pencils, because they have to bite the top of the pencil to get some more eraser. Please, parents, and this is something that is always overlooked as well, is erasers. As many erasers as you can. Even if your child has more erasers than pencils, go for it. Erasers are very important. There should be one of these erasers at the top of every pencil that your child has, because when they go to school and they're erasing, they're not thinking, oh, I have a little bit of eraser left, let me save, let me conserve it. No, they're just erasing whatever they need to erase to get it done so they can move on to the next. Because most of the time the teacher's just going and she's not waiting for your child who's erasing. So please, have them prepared. Get them erasers. Even if they're not attached, the erasers that attach to the pencil, get them erasers. The square erasers, they have rectangles, they have all sizes, all shapes of erasers.
It's very helpful, especially when the eraser runs out. It's time to do their homework, and then they're like, oh, I can't erase this, and then now you're all looking around and you're trying to rub it, and then it's just smudging, and it's just a hot mess. So the erasers are extremely important to have as a backup, not only for the child to bring to school, but at home. Okay. Good. So what else do we have on this table? Loose leaf. Why is loose leaf important? Well, sometimes the child is required to do different activities in the classroom.
Outside the notebook.
You do not want them to have to rip sheets outside of this notebook, because you know what's going to happen? It's going to destroy the whole notebook. It's going to fall apart sooner than you know. So these loose leaves are important for them to bring to school. So this way they can do different activities, whatever the teacher requires, and it'll be an easier process.
And if you don't want to send them with the whole pack of loose leaf, you can put a few sheets in each folder. Every folder, like the math folder, a reading folder, or whatever folder, science folder. You can put a few sheets of loose leaf in each folder, so this way when they're in the subject, they just go into the folder and pull a sheet of loose leaf right out. Because a binder sometimes is too heavy, being that they have all these notebooks in their book bag, and then when they have to come home with textbooks to do homework, a binder is just going to add on extra weight. So, depending on their age, you don't need a whole binder. Just put a few sheets of loose leaf in each folder, so this way it's convenient for them.
So the only thing also is, depending on the grade, sometimes they have the desk that you can actually hold the whole.
A lot of schools don't have desks no more. You know the desk we had?
Well, for the first graders, the second graders, they have it.
I'm not sure about the first and second graders, but I know like third, fourth, fifth, those, they have like regular tables.
Regular tables, yeah. So, but they usually have a spot to put all their stuff, right? So depending also, like these things, of course, you want to discuss that with the teacher. So you can bring this the first day, but after that, like, have a discussion with the teacher. Connect with the teacher and find out, like, okay, do I really need to send my child with the whole pack? Or, because it might be a requirement for the class. Okay.
So next we have colored pencil, which is also used during art activities. I personally love Crayola when it comes to crayons, markers, and colored pencils. But to each his own. You might like a different brand, but Crayola is pretty good. And no, this is not a sponsored video, but Crayola is good. So colored pencils are just used for arts and crafts. It's always great to have because sometimes the teacher doesn't want them to use markers because it might, you know, the activity might not require markers because, you know, markers, if they're not used properly, they can stain or they can make the sheet look like it bled or something like that. So sometimes they just want to use colored pencils depending on what the activity is. So they're always just, it's necessary pretty much.
Mm-hmm. So another item is a scissor, right? So your scissors, you want to make sure that they're safe. So as you can see, these scissors, they have the round edges. But you don't want anybody or to stab your kid or your kid to stab anybody or anybody else when they're play fighting or anything. And then you don't want your kid to hurt themselves. So you want to make sure it's a blunt tip, it is curved, and it's age appropriate. So this one says age 4 and up. You want to make sure it's strong, it's sturdy, it's not going to break apart.
Not flimsy.
You know, it's not flimsy where it could flick and break apart and hurt your child. If you want your child to come back home in peace. And pretty color yellow. Well, you can pick whatever color you want.
Crayons are very important. They're mandatory.
Always.
Even if your child doesn't have markers or colored pencils, it is important that they have crayons because most activities in school are used with crayons, are done with crayons. So crayons are very essential to a school supply list. So yeah.
Another item is a ruler. You cannot go wrong with a ruler. This one is a wooden ruler, but you can get a plastic ruler. So it depends what you prefer. But a ruler for a class is always important, especially when it's like math activities and they have to measure something or they have to trace something. So this is important to always have.
Lastly, markers. You did everything else. So lastly, we have markers, which is like colored pencils. It's necessary. I mean, yeah, it's necessary. They use it for arts and crafts. They use it for different things, but it's definitely something that's necessary on a school supplies list.
Did you go into details of the folders?
Oh, the folders?
Sure.
So these folders are good because they are two-pocketed, double-sided, and they're pretty sturdy. The material is, you know, pretty good, and they're paper, so that's good as well. And yeah, I just like these folders, and they're very affordable too. Also, Staples has a back-to-school sale where notebooks are like 17 cents composition. These notebooks normally go for $149 to $169, sometimes $199, but they're running in Staples until school starts. I believe the first or second week in September. They're running for like different prices. Some weeks, every week they have a different sale. So some weeks, no, this is not a sponsored video. Some weeks they have the notebooks for 17 cents. Sometimes they have them for like 25 cents each. Sometimes they have them for 10 cents. They have these folders were like 17 cents. This glue was like $2 for $1. So you know, everything.
This was really cheap too. This was like what?
Yeah,
29
I think it was 30
cents.
cents. Yeah,
Cents,
it was like 30
that.
cents.
And you could have got 3.
Yeah, and then the stapler, not the stapler, the sharpener was like 50 cents. So you know, just try to get over to Staples as quick as you can and get these school supplies.
And if you could get it cheaper somewhere else, of course, that's better. Just making sure that you have everything that you need.
Yeah, pretty much. And that concludes our back to school supplies list.
Welcome back to school.
Welcome back to school, babies.
Back
time
to
to
school
go back,
time, kiddies.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's it.
Bye.
If you have, wait, we didn't even give them our outro. If you have not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. Subscribe button should be the button right below this video. And right next to it is the bell that you can press to be notified every time your Soul Sisters upload. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, please be sure to subscribe. If you know someone, a friend or a sister or a brother or anyone who has a child and they just don't know what to get for school supplies, just share this video with them and let them know that the Soul Sisters was thinking about them. So we reached out and made a video for them.
And if you know anyone who works for Staples, you can share this video with them too. Or Crayola. Okay.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye. Damn.
And we're out.
It's about 6 in the morning.